Hello and welcome to the FA Women's National League show, the weekly show where we look at everything that's been going on in the third and fourth tiers of women's football in England. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. taking you through what's happened over the past 7 days and what we can look forward to in the coming week. We've got one league fixture to talk about quickly before we get into the first round of the FA Cup. We've also got the second round draw for the FA Cup to discuss, as well as we look ahead to this coming weekend where there is also not many league fixtures. It's primarily a County Cup weekend. It seems might just rename November Cup Ember because most of the teams are just playing in cup competitions. But before we go too far into it, let's have a look at that one fixture that was in the league. It was in the Division 1 Midlands. Leek Town 1, Wem Town 1. Goal for Leek Town in the first half coming to Cassie Hyde, 42nd minute. And Wem Town equalising from the penalty spot second half. Taylor Reynolds on her debut for the club. What that means for the table is that Leek Town climb one place to 5th. They're now on 13 points. They have played a game more than the teams around them and 2 games more than Howell Sports. Wem Town closed the gap to Peterborough United. They're now just below them by a single goal on goal difference with that point they gained at the weekend. And they do have a game in hand as well. So they could climb with that game in hand as much as another 4 places by the time they come round to play it. So that's everything from the league fixtures. We're now going to have a look at the FA Cup. Now, I'll do a bit of a proviso with this, and I will be honest, this is the second time that I am recording this episode. And the reason for that is that it appeared on the FA Women's National League website that they were giving some of the information about who scored the goals for the FA Women's National League teams in the third and the fourth tier. However, I didn't even make it to the end of this page before I discovered that some teams were input incorrectly in the sense of Salford City Lionesses, for example, the 5th team down on that list, were awarded their third qualifying round tie because Barnsley women were taken out of the competition by the FA. Yet the FA Women's National League website still has Barnsley playing Alnwick Town and winning 4-0. And then I got to the Blackburn Community Sports Club Hull City game, and it isn't even on the FA Women's National League website. And then Wakefield Trinity against Fylde, it became apparent that not all the teams had a lot of information on there. Some of the games didn't have any information at all. So rather than me desperately trying to find teams and spending ages finding teams and looking and trying to find all the scorers, which would make this episode incredibly long, I'll just run through the scores as they are here. A reminder that with the FA Cup, the numbers down each side of the screen are the tier that those sides are in. And as I said, we've got some interesting information about the tiers coming up later in the show as well. But first round proper, Farsley Celtic 2, Mossley Hill 0, Huddersfield Town 20, Sir Tom Finney 0. Sir Tom Finney, ladies, of course, the 6th tier side were that side who were awarded a bye into the first round because they were supposed to come up against Bolton Ladies in the third qualifying round, but Bolton Ladies folded in the summer. Hartlepool United 0, Leeds United 4, Tudor Town Stingers 1, Bradford City 2, Salford City Lionesses 4, Alnwick Town 0. That's a lower division side beating a high division side there. Keep your eye on those throughout the course of this section of the show. Blackburn Community Sports Club 0, Hull City 1, Wakefield Trinity 1, AFC Fylde 4, and then Chorley 4, Middlesbrough 4, Chorley winning 4-1 on penalties again. That's the second lower division side beating the upper division side. Liverpool Feds 2, Fleetwood Town Wrens 0, FC United Manchester 0, Brighouse Town 1, South Shields 1, Norton Stockton Agents 4, Burnley 2, Durham Sestron 0, Newcastle United 5, Harrogate Town 1, Northampton Town 2, Biddeford United 2. Northampton Town winning 4-2 on penalties, the third side to beat higher division opposition. Long Eaton United 4, Peterborough United 0, Crewe Alexandra 0, West Bromwich Albion 5. Sheffield Town 0, Lincoln United 4, Sporting Cowsall 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 7, AFC Telford 0, Leafield Athletic 4, Solihull Moors 0, Loughborough Lightning 3, Shrewsbury Town 1, Lye Town 2, Stoke City 5, Doncaster Rovers Bells 3, Nottingham Forest 4, Lichfield City 0, Neverton United 3, Knoll 2. Again, that fourth side there, Neverton United, 7th tier, one of two 7th tier sides into the second round. The fourth side to beat higher opposition in the first round. Sheffield 1, Sutton Coldfield Town 1. Sheffield winning 4-2 on penalties. So close there for Sutton Coldfield Town. Burton Albion 0, Lincoln City 4. Derby County 2, Stourbridge 3. Stourbridge beating Derby County from 2 tiers above them. The 5th side to beat higher opposition side. A 90th minute 40-yard lob for Stourbridge to send them into the second round. MK Dons 0, Ipswich Town 2. Cheshire United 3, Cambridge United 2. Billericay Town 5, Luton Town 1. Hearts Vipers 3, Stevenage 6 after extra time. 3-3 at the end of normal time in that one. And Wymondham Town 0, Norwich City 2. Hashtag United 17, Southend United Community Sports Club 0. London Seaward 0, Cambridge City 2. Clapton Community 1, Bedford 1. Clapton Community winning 7-6 on a penalty shootout. The 6th side to beat higher division opposition. 2 tiers above them were Bedford. Herne Bay 1, Actonians 8. Fulham 0, Oxford United 3. Queen's Park Rangers 11, Bromley 0. Worthing 1, Hounslow 1. Hounslow just scraping through 4-3 on the penalty shootout. And Portsmouth 13, Dorking Wanderers 6. Crawley Wasps 3, London Bees 2. Millwall Lionesses 0, AFC Wimbledon 4. Ascot United 0, Chichester and Chelsea 4. Staining Town Community 0, Kent Football United 3. Abingdon United 0, Southampton Women 3. Abingdon Town 1, Gillingham 4. Sutton United 0, Ashford Town 6. And Cheltenham Town 4, Liscard Athletic 0. And final page, New Milton Town 0, Bridgewater United 3. AFC St Austell 2, Torquay United 0. Ilminster Town 5, Sherborne Town 0. Bournemouth Sports 1, AFC Bournemouth 2. Southampton 1, Swindon Town 0. AFC Stoneham 0, Eastleigh in the Community 6. Keynsham Town 3, Plymouth Argyle 5. And finally, Exeter City 0, Cardiff City 1. So 6 teams beating higher division opposition in the first round of the FA Cup. What that means is that the 56 sides in the second round are made up of 21 sides from Tier 3, 23 sides from Tier 4, 10 from Tier 5 and 2 from Tier 7. That's the draw for the those are the results from the first round of the Women's FA Cup. The draw for the second round was made yesterday. So we'll go through those now as well. These ties are all to be played on the 28th of November. So we'll be looking at those again next week on next week's show. But in the second round, we've got Norton and Stockton Ancients taking on Leeds United. This is still regionalised at this stage, don't forget. Salford City Lionesses against Newcastle United. Chorley against Bradford City. Hull City against Liverpool Feds. Brighouse Town against Farsley Celtic. AFC Fylde against Burnley. Sheffield take on Huddersfield Town. And Long Eaton United against Neverton United. On the second page, Stoke City against Norwich City. Stevenage against Loughborough Lightning. Cambridge City take on Stourbridge. West Bromwich Albion against Lincoln United. Lye Town against Northampton Town. Wolverhampton Wanderers against Nottingham Forest. Leafield Athletic against Lincoln City. And Queen's Park Rangers against Billericay Town. Ipswich Town take on Crawley Wasps. Gillingham against Actonians. Ashford Town against Oxford United. Hashtag United against AFC Wimbledon. And Hounslow against Clapton Community. Kent Football United against Chesham United. Portsmouth take on AFC Bournemouth. And Eastleigh in the Community take on Exeter City. Final page of second round fixtures. Ilminster Town against Southampton. Plymouth Argyle take on AFC St Austell. Cheltenham Town against Southampton Women. And Chichester and Chelsea against Bridgewater United. So those are the second round ties, as I said, to be played next week, the 28th of November. And what I noticed looking at these fixtures, as I said before, for the third qualifying round, I'm going to keep covering the FA Cup as long as there is at least a side from the third tier and below still in the competition. We are guaranteed, because of the draw, 12 teams, fourth tier or below, getting through to the third round. The third round, of course, is where the women's championship sides come into the competition. So we're guaranteed 12 fourth tier or below sides in the third round. One of those sides is guaranteed to be a fifth tier game because of the draw which pits Town against Northampton Town. They're 4 up from the bottom. So 12 fourth tier sides and one fifth tier. 12 sides, fourth tier or below. One of those 12 is guaranteed to be fifth tier Town or Northampton Town. So one game away from a potential glamour tie against a women's championship side. Just to remind you, the calibre of some of these teams in the women's championship, because it is strengthening all the time. Women's championship teams such as Liverpool are now in the women's championship. If I just get the league table up for the championship as well. Sunderland are in there as well. London City Lionesses, who have been around for quite a while as well. So there is plenty of kind of glamour ties in there. If I just bring up the change, the website's being really slow. Durham, Bristol City, Lewis, Sunderland. And then there's teams that more recently have been in the National League. Coventry United, Watford, teams such as that. And then in the fourth round, the Women's Super League sides come in. So what I'm going to cover the FA Cup, as I said, whilst National League sides are in there. Now, I've done a rough calculation. So 28 sides are going through from the second round into the third round. They are adding in the 12 sides from the Women's Championship to make 40. Now, even if none of those sides get drawn against each other, there is guaranteed to be 8 sides from the National League or below that will get through to the fourth round when the Super League teams come in. So hopefully we will have teams getting through to the fifth round as well. But I will keep covering the FA Cup until there are no National League sides left in the competition, or below, of course. I'd love it for one of the fifth or seventh tier sides to go even further in this competition. But that will cover it for the FA Cup. Now we're going to look at the fixtures coming up in the leagues this weekend. As I said, this weekend it is predominantly County Cup action, but there are some league fixtures going on. A lot of these are midweek, but I've put them all onto one page. So, Northern Premier Division tomorrow, Derby County against Sheffield and Huddersfield Town against AFC Fylde. Then on Thursday, Nottingham Forest against Loughborough Lightning. There won't be any. There aren't any weekend fixtures in the Northern Premier Division. Southern Premier Division, Southampton against Crawley Wasps tomorrow. Then at the weekend, Oxford United against Plymouth Argyle, and then Southampton against Ipswich Town. In the league will be another good game. Of course, they faced each other in the Cup, but Southampton will need to be beating Crawley Wasps with one of their games in hand, but it's that top two facing each other at the weekend. Oxford United are in 5th, Plymouth Argyle down in 10th. Oxford United really trying to keep themselves within touching distance of the 3rd and 4th place. Oxford United, if they win that game, will go into 3rd. This is their game in hand over Bridgwater United and Portsmouth. In the Division 1 Midlands, Boldmere St Michael's coming up against Sporting Cowser tonight. And tomorrow, Howell Sports against Burton Albion. At the weekend, Wen Town against Howell Sports is the only fixture. Boldmere St Michael's need to win this game against Sporting Cowser to close the gap to 2 points to Lincoln City at the top of the table. Burton Albion against Howell Sports. Burton Albion down in 10th, the penultimate position. Howell Sports doing nicely in mid-table, but they would want to get 2 wins from this week, also beating Wem Town at the weekend. Birds now be in 12th, Wem Town are in 11th. Great opportunity for Hull Sports to climb, get 6 points and climb themselves up into 5th place in the league. In the Division 1 North, tomorrow it's Chester Street Town against Newcastle United. And then the weekend it's Alnwick Town against Liverpool Feds. Chester Street Town in 10th at the moment. Newcastle United are in 3rd. And Alnwick Town against Liverpool Feds. Alnwick Town bottom of the table, yet to get a win this season. Liverpool Feds at the top of the table, and they'll be looking, with Leeds United not playing, to use that game in hand they've got over Leeds to extend their gap at the top to 5 points. So top versus bottom in the Division 1 North. Division 1 South East then. Tonight, London Seaward against Kent Football United. Kent Football United, another team bottom of the table, yet to get a win this season. London Seaward in the midfield. Tomorrow, Actonians against AFC Wimbledon and Queen's Park Rangers against Enfield Town. Again, Queen's Park Rangers just in 9th place at the moment, one of 3 teams on 7 points. Actonians looking to try and close that gap to Billericay Town and #United, both of which are playing at the weekend. #United against Norwich City, that's 2nd against 10th, and then Kent Football United host top of the table Billericay Town. So the second top versus bottom fixture we've got coming up this weekend. Billericay Town currently 3 points clear of #United, but #United have that game in hand, and the pair of them are currently 10 and 7 points clear of the rest of the field respectively. If Actonians can take points away from AFC and Wimbledon, it will strengthen the position of Billericay Town and #United towards the top of that table. But that will do it for this week's episode of the show. I apologise that it's so short, but with just FA Cup fixtures without any information and barely any fixtures coming up this weekend in terms of league action, because it's all in County Cup, there wasn't a huge amount to discuss. I should be having more guests on in the coming weeks. I've got one interview which will be recorded by the time that this show goes out at 6 o'clock tonight. So that should hopefully be coming next week, all being well. But as always, thank you for watching this week's episode. If you could share the show out, try and get as much awareness as possible. If you can think of anybody who would be a good guest to come on this show, players or staff or anybody involved with any of the clubs that's on the graphic to my right-hand side there, then tell them about the show, put them in touch, and we'll see how many people and who we can get on over the coming weeks, because I appreciate that there's going to be a lot of times where the fixtures are like this, particularly through winter, where there won't be as much to talk about. So rather than just giving you a much shorter show, it'd be great if we could have somebody on and give you a bit more of an insight to the FA Women's National League. But as always, thank you for watching this episode. If you want to get involved, I'm on Twitter at Chris_Gadsby, or you can leave a comment down below. As always, keep watching your local and supporting your local women's football team. And goodbye.